Hello and welcome to episode 9 of Two Bros in a Pod. I'm your host, Brennan Olin, alongside my stepbrother and co-host, Wyatt Olson. And today we have a super special guest, our very first interview on the podcast, the one and only, my sister, Carly Olin. What's up,
What's up,
Carly? How you
Carly?
doing?
Doing good, kind of. I'm back at home. Not too bad.
Back at home after how long have you been away from home? You haven't been home in a while.
About 6 years.
6 years.
6 years.
Yep.
6 years, and now she's back in the parents' basement.
Full circle.
Don't worry about that, though. I've been there. Most people have. So, but yeah, Carly Olin is a new graduate of the Mayo Clinic Dietetic internship.
Yep. I just say
How does it feel?
It feels crazy. I've been going every day for the past year, and now it's all like halted, it's stopped, and now I'm just entering the real world, and it kind of sucks, but I'm figuring it out. But it feels good to be done. It's like a weight lifted off my shoulders for sure.
Yeah, I bet. I got a lot of phone calls from you over the last year. So basically, for everybody out there that doesn't know, kind of explain what you've been doing for the last year and how you got started and involved with it.
Yeah, so I got my bachelor's degree in dietetics. So after that, you have to complete an internship. It's usually like a 1,200-hour internship. And then you can sit to take your registered dietitian exam. And in order to do that, you have to complete that internship first. So I've been working at Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota for the past 11 months, just doing all these clinical rotations, community rotations, just to prepare me for the exam.
Yeah. So first question, the craziest, most difficult question you've ever been asked in your life. What is more nerve-wracking? Working at an internship at Mayo Clinic or coming on Two Bros in a Pod?
Definitely at the Mayo Clinic.
Yeah, whatever, sure.
Lame.
I haven't done some
Wrong answer.
though, so a little rusty.
Yeah. I was gonna say, after your year of presentations and all that stuff, you should be used to this kind of thing.
For sure. But it's with you guys, so it's like I don't know how to act.
Yeah, I know. We're like we're doing this like semi-professional, but you know that we're two just idiots and we're just gonna mess around. So I wouldn't be too worried. So,
oh man,
Wyatt and I both prepared some questions for you, as you know, as I hope you know if you've listened to our podcast. We've been talking about trying to be healthy, getting into good routines, working out, and all that fun stuff. And that's your area of expertise, at least the diet part. So, Wyatt and I both prepared a bunch of questions for you. We'll get back to these hard-hitting questions, but first, let's get some background on you, Carly. I know you talked about getting your bachelor's degree and where you went to college, but I guess before that, when it came time to decide your major, what made you become interested in dietetics?
Well, actually, my freshman year, like the day I moved in, I decided I'm gonna go vegetarian. So at first I made it like a goal, like I'm just gonna do this for a year, and at the end of the year I'm probably just gonna go back to eating meat because I used to eat a lot of meat. But throughout the year I was like, okay, just gonna be till the end of my freshman year. But everybody was talking about Raising Cane's and how good it was.
Yes.
No, I know. So I was like, okay, at the end of the year, I'm going to reward myself with Raising Cane's because everybody's talking about it, says it's so good. So I wanted to try it really bad. And so at the end of the year, I rewarded myself with that. But I kind of got I don't know. Let's just say my body didn't handle it very well. And so after that, I kind of just was like, maybe this isn't really what I want to do anymore. I kind of want to keep being vegetarian. And being a vegetarian was what really sparked my interest in it. But then fast forward to 2019, I was in a motor vehicle accident and I had several injuries, but the most significant one was I broke my jaw. And so I had to have jaw surgery, and it ended up being wired shut for a couple months. And during that time, I had to be like on a liquid diet, and it was really tough and challenging. And I had like this loss of a relationship with food. And then I also kind of realized how important nutrition is for healing. So I kind of sparked my interest there too. And I also worked with a dietitian while in the hospital, and I didn't even know that was like a career. I didn't know that was a thing. And so after that, I kind of just decided this is the route I want to go down because I have personal experience with it, and I just found it fascinating how important nutrition is and all these little factors that go into it with our health.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I figured. I was kind of assuming I figured that the accident was kind of what sparked the interest. But I do remember you being a vegetarian at the beginning of college. All of us giving you a lot of crap for it, but you
Will
definitely,
do.
yeah, you definitely held on.
Yeah, we did.
But yeah, going through something as traumatic as breaking your jaw would definitely obviously make you think more about how you're eating and what you're eating. Because, like, was there a point for you where you were pretty much eating out of a straw, like drinking out of a straw, all of your food, weren't you? Yeah.
Yeah. So like I had to use like a syringe sometimes because your mouth is wired shut, so you're like this all the time. So you can't chew, you can't eat anything solid. So I had like a syringe and I would just like push it into my like basically through my teeth and everything was liquid. So it was tough. I remember like my parents, they would not make food in the house, like pizza or something, because it would just make me sad and I really wanted to eat it. But yeah, it was really tough. It's kind of like we don't really see how big food is in our lives. Like it's such a social thing. We all go out to eat, and that's kind of how we connect with people, right? Like over dinner. And yeah, it's just you kind of take it for granted, you know? Like you don't even realize like this is what we do every day. We eat every day. We have to eat to survive. So it's a big part of your life that a lot of people don't really think about, honestly.
hmm Yeah, I can't even imagine. That would be like one of the worst things, probably like a top a top five worst thing you could ever go through in your entire life. Like just being able to open your mouth and eat is something that everyone takes for granted. And then once it gets taken away, it's like, holy crap. So yeah, I can't even imagine having to go through that. What year did you say that happened again?
That was in 2019.
2019. So yeah, that's right. That was the first year out of college for me. I was in Florida at the time. That's right. So where would you have been, Wyatt? You were
Yeah, I
there.
was back home. I was
Yeah.
there. Yeah. Yeah, that was a definitely a tough, surreal thing for sure to I mean, I know it was for you, Carly, but yeah, it was for me too being there of like, holy cow. It was a crazy night.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, you were the first one there in the emergency room. I started bawling when I
Um,
saw you. I was like,
yeah.
somebody's here. But yeah, yeah, first one there. Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember Carly, she would always tell me that story too. She's like, "Yeah, the first one there was Wyatt, and as soon as I saw him, I started bawling." It's like, well, at least you had an ugly face there to cheer you up, you know? But yeah, so all that stuff happens. How long, I guess, was the recovery with your jaw itself before you could start kind of eating normal foods again?
I would say like 4 months. I kind of had delayed healing. Um, so it kind of took a little longer than it was supposed to. I still can't eat like an apple, like bite into one, or corn or any like hard candies or anything like that. That's always going to be something I'm going to not be able to do. But yeah, it took a while. 4 months is a long time.
Yeah. And I remember, yeah, and then every time I talk to you, you're always saying how the injury still affects you to this day. Like you still have problems with a lot of things. So it's definitely not just like just for an average person getting surgery on something and then you're fine a few weeks later. This is like going to be a lifelong thing for you.
And I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy.
Yeah. But um so one good thing I feel like did come out of it. Um Even though you'd never want this to happen ever again, and obviously if you could redo your life, you'd be like, yeah, I'd rather not break my jaw. But I do feel like knowing you personally, one good thing did come out of it. Your experience with all of this gave you some clarity on what you wanted to do with your life and you wanted to pursue dietetics and all this stuff. And it helped you eventually get into an internship at Mayo Clinic. So, what was that whole experience like? I guess from after college when you're applying to try and find different internships and then ultimately ending up at Mayo Clinic.
Yeah, it's pretty competitive. So I was very very lucky that I got accepted to go to Mayo Clinic, and Mayo Clinic is prestigious. It's a really great place to work at. Um, but it was challenging, and I knew that. But it's so worth it in the end. I had the opportunity to work with so many intelligent registered dietitians. I remember in college, I was reading all these research articles that we have to read, and I would look at the authors, and then I noticed I was working with them. They were like my preceptors, so I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, it allowed me to gain a lot of knowledge and experiences that I probably would not have had anywhere else. But definitely a challenge. They make you work for it as they should. But yeah, it was a pretty cool experience, but hardest I've
Yeah,
ever worked in my life.
definitely. And how many people did they accept for this specific internship?
Only 8 people get accepted.
Yeah, so 8 people, and you got selected to be one of them. So, yeah, it's just crazy how all this ended up working out. And then to be able to go to Mayo Clinic with just all the extraordinary stuff that happens there, pretty crazy. But what would you say? That leads me to my next question. What would you say, if you're even able to tell, was the craziest thing you saw at Mayo Clinic?
Yeah, I would have to think about that. I feel like my definition of normal is not normal anymore. Like what's normal to me is very complex, crazy patients. But I think the craziest thing that I saw at Mayo was this patient who had a spit fistula. So basically, the patient had an esophagectomy, which is where it's like the surgical removal of your esophagus. And basically, they create this fistula in the neck, and this little pouch attaches to it, and it collects like fluid. And when I was visiting this patient, they allow these patients to like drink like fluids, juice, water, whatever. And I saw him drink some juice, and this is just for like um, basically for pleasure, so it doesn't do anything, it doesn't go down into the stomach or anything. It's just the act of drinking for pleasure. Because when you don't have
Wow.
that, life isn't very good, right? And so I saw him drink some juice, and then it just went straight into the pouch, just straight out. It was just really crazy. I've never seen anything like that before, and it's not very common. So I thought that was pretty cool. But there's a lot of others
Wow.
I probably can't even like think of anymore because they're all crazy. I feel like a lot of it was just stuff that I've never seen before and never have experienced. But yeah,
Yeah.
just kind of.
And you were saying like in this internship you kind of do rotations, so certain periods of time you're at different places, and you were saying
Mhm.
how um at some of the smaller hospitals that you went to, it was just like a completely different world. Like everything was super easy and relaxed. And then you go back to Mayo Clinic and it's just insane. Like the
Yeah,
craziest stuff that you see.
yeah, yeah. Like
Yeah.
at the smaller places, it's like this guy just comes in, he's got hypertension and he needs to lose weight or something like that. But then you go to Mayo and they're like, end stage renal disease, got end stage liver disease, he's all these things going on at once. And so it's just very different than those smaller hospitals.
The smaller hospitals are like Wyatt and I sitting here like, how do we lose fat?
Yes. What would you say was your biggest takeaway from being at Mayo?
My biggest takeaway is, I just feel like you can't give up. You got to keep working hard, and it's okay to ask for help. Um, yeah, I feel like you get in what you put out.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
And
that's the thing, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, kind of along those lines too, I guess, looking back on the whole thing, what were the best parts and the worst parts of working there?
Best part I think would be working with the interns and the relationships I built with them. Honestly, I think it was the best intern class ever. We wouldn't have gotten through it if we all didn't get along. We're all very different, but it all just worked. So I think that was one of my favorite best parts about it. And also, it's just they provide great, excellent patient care. So to learn that right off the bat out of coming out of college, it kind of prepares me to kind of treat other people like that too and to have that type of work ethic. Um, the worst part, I would have to say, is the workload and the commute. The workload was a lot. I remember during the end, you have to do staffing. So basically, you're acting as a dietitian and covering a whole team independently. And I was seeing about like 12 to 15 patients a day, and it was a lot. It was hard to figure out what's the best way to do it, but it definitely like it's worth it in the end, and you learn a lot. But also the commute, they don't have any parking. It's only for, I believe it's for like doctors, and there's also like a lottery you can like win to be able to park near the hospital. But yeah, so I had to park in like this parking lot, get picked up by a shuttle, and be able to work that way. And it kind of sucked because it took up a lot of time out of your day. I didn't get to sleep in as much as I wanted to. But yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah, having been there, because we recently went to your graduation, I got to see it all. It's definitely crazy. I mean, super busy, um, huge parking garages for everybody to park at, and you showed us kind of where you have to park and take a shuttle over to the hospital and all these different things. One other really good question that I had that I forgot to send to you was take me back to your first day walking into the Mayo Hospital or wherever you went. The first day, tell me how you felt.
I felt like an imposter. I was like, are they sure they want me here? Like, did they pick the right person? It was just huge, overwhelming, and I was like, I don't even know where to go. I was terrified. But then all the interns started to show up at the spot we were supposed to meet at, and the thing that like made me feel a lot better was Tony walked in. And he's like, "Is anybody else as scared as I am?" And we were all like, "Oh, thank you for saying something," because we're all trying to keep it together and act like we're cool. But like, he came in and just like elephant in the room, like we're all terrified, but we're acting like it's okay.
Yeah, I feel you there. I can't imagine. It's exactly what I was gonna say. It's like I would definitely have imposter syndrome and just be like, I definitely don't belong here. But yeah, after a year, do you feel like that all changed? Do you feel like you finally belonged, or I guess what was the difference?
Yeah, I felt more confident. I learned so much. I grew so much throughout the whole thing. And then I was walking around giving other people directions instead of me asking for directions all the time. Like, I don't know. It's a maze. It's a maze there. And I'd get lost consistently. But by the end, I was able to tell people when they'd come up to me. I remember this one time this guy came up to me really early on in the internship, and he was like, "Do you know where this is?" I don't know where I'm going. I'm like, I don't even know where I'm going. I'm sorry, like I can't help you here. So, yeah, it it definitely grew a lot towards the end. I realized and reflected on that, like, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel you. That for the graduation, you took us in and we had to go into a room for the graduation, and I would have gotten lost immediately. Like there was like 10 different turns we took. We went down a few levels and all of a sudden we're in this conference room doing the graduation. Yeah, I especially the first day, like walking in there being like, I have no idea where I'm going. That would be crazy. All right, so that's kind of the background of where you started and what you went through for the last year. Now, I wanted to jump into some more of our questions and then also some myths, see if you can debunk them or see if they're true. So, let's see. Should I go first, Wyatt, or do you want to do some of your questions?
I can do some of my questions. So I'm sure. So these are more, I guess, like from a working out perspective and things that we have kind of heard throughout our start of getting back into working out. But so like micros and macros, right? You've heard that?
Of
Know
course.
about that?
Yes.
Yeah, dude,
So
I have no idea what those are, so I'm excited to hear this.
so the macros, right, are the carbs, fats, and proteins.
Yep.
So, like, how important is it to track macros?
Depends on the person, their circumstance, or situation. If
Yeah.
you're somebody, like, for example, trying to build muscle mass, you would benefit from probably tracking or counting those macronutrients because it'll reach like your specific goal. So if you have like specific health or fitness goals, I think tracking is good. But if maybe you have like a history of disordered eating, it's probably not a good idea to track your macronutrients because there's evidence that shows that you're more likely to further experience that disordered eating. But it's not a universal requirement for healthy diet. It's, just trying to eat well balanced meals and align them with your individual needs and goals. So just
Okay.
depends.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And then, so those are the macros. And then what are micros? Like what is in that bucket? Because I'm sure there's a lot, but like I don't understand. All I've heard is macros. I have no idea what micros are.
Yeah. The macronutrients are the ones that provide the energy, those calories. And those are required in those big amounts. So like that's why they're called macronutrients. Our body needs them in big amounts, and then the micronutrients we need in small quantities. But they're essential nutrients, so like our vitamins and minerals that help our body kind of function properly and helps us maintain our health. Um, so well balanced diet, you want to have your macronutrients, but also including your micronutrients as well, which you could get from like eating all sorts of varieties of food.
Okay. Okay. Makes sense. I get it. I get it now.
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking about the vitamins and all that stuff in the micros, so that's good. Um, the two really big questions that I have now are so from a dietary perspective here, let's hypothetically say I want to have a six pack. What is the way? What do I got to do?
Well, you
Just
got
just start beating on my abs and just not eat anything, just drink a lot of water,
You got to
maybe a
get that
protein shake in there.
you got to get that thing that
What?
wraps around your waist and just shakes it.
Yes, that. Yes. That's what I got to do.
Well, obviously you need to like have those targeted exercises and be consistent with that, but also like the nutrition part of it is really important too. But I think for like a six pack,
Boo. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, it's not fun, but um, the nutrition side of it, I feel like you got to make sure you're getting enough calories and protein for sure to build those muscles. But you also kind of want to watch your calorie intake too. So then, we're not like consuming more calories than we need because that kind of adds on to that fat too. So trying to make that lean stomach, you want to watch the amount of calories that you're consuming.
So what is like good fat?
What is like a good fat?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
like our unsaturated fats. So avocado is a good one. Nuts and seeds, or
Uh,
olive oil and canola oil, stuff like that. Those are good fats. But like the bad fats are saturated fats, which come from animal products. So like butter, and the fat in meat. So like bacon, stuff like that. Those raise our cholesterol, whereas the unsaturated fats help lower our cholesterol. So you can still have those bad fats, but just in moderation.
okay. So I shouldn't eat like a bunch of burgers at night because this is what I used to do. This is what I used to do in college, right? Before I had my appendix removed way back when, I would eat like 3 or 4 burgers every night, and that was it. So
Okay.
that's not good. We shouldn't be doing that.
Probably not. I mean, are you good with just one burger?
It's just not enough.
How does it have to be three?
That's a fair question. That's a fair question. And I don't know if I know how to answer that right now. It
So you're
depends on the
saying,
day.
so you're saying we shouldn't go taste test a bunch of fast food French fry places just so we can make a top 5 ranking.
That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
the three burgers is a lot. That's a lot at one. But like maybe you could have just a burger, but then like fill your plate with other things too, like a salad or something
No,
else.
no,
Yeah,
we don't do that. No,
just the three burgers.
nothing green.
I feel like
Well,
we're probably like a lot of your patients were.
pretty used to this. Pretty used to this. I figured out how to go about it.
Oh, can you please tell my favorite story about an older couple that came in and you were talking to them and they were talking about the exercise they were doing?
Oh, oh
Please
yeah,
share.
shit. So she came in and she's like wanting to lose some weight. And so, I talked about all the diet stuff, but then I also kind of touched on exercise. And she was like, "Oh, well, I've been exercising." And I said, "Okay, well, what have you been doing?" And she's like, "Oh, I've been riding my bike. I ride a couple of miles actually." And her husband just starts like laughing, and she's like, "What?" And he's like, "Nothing." And I'm just sitting there like he's laughing for a reason. She must be withholding some information here. And so she's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Okay, well, is that something that you would be willing to continue to do? Is do those bike rides daily?" And she's like, "Oh, yeah, I could definitely do that." And he just starts laughing again. And I'm thinking she's out there like on the road, like going around and around and um on trails or like like I thought she was outside doing all this, and then he's like, "She's not telling you what she's really doing." And apparently she's just like sitting there. It's basically she's doing the one that's motorized, like the bike that like it's electric.
It's an electric bike.
And yeah, she barely has to put in any effort. It just kind of goes for her.
So she's just
So
like,
that's
yeah, I've been riding a few miles every day, and meanwhile she's actually just sitting there pushing a button.
Yeah. I told that story a little weird, but yeah, that was hilarious. That was a good one.
So I'd say before we do, actually, no, we're going to end it. I have one last question that I want to save till the end. So first, I'm going to start with the myths that I've heard. These are just things that I've heard. I didn't look anything up. This is just things that I've heard throughout my life. And we're going to see if you can debunk them or if they're true. So, number one, I have heard that it is bad to eat late at night. Is that true or is that a myth?
I feel like I can't like give you yes or no's for all of these things because it depends. It just depends. Um, like eating late at night has like positive and negative benefits. So like for example, if you're someone who has like a busy work schedule or like lifestyle that like the only time you can really eat at night, like eat at night then because you need to eat, right? Or if you're just genuinely hungry at night and you need to satisfy yourself, do that. But there is like research out there that does say like eating late at night can cause like disruptive sleep, digestive issues, and can also just cause you to overeat at night. Because like, what do we do at night, right? Like we kind of are relaxing, winding down, we're watching TV before bed. We have all these distractions, and it's like we want to run to the cabinet and grab something to eat, and that's kind of when we overeat too. And especially watching that TV, you're distracted, so you don't realize like, oh, I'm just gonna have a couple chips, and then you end up eating the whole bag. But yeah, so like eating eating earlier in the
Yeah,
day
me too.
just makes more
Yeah.
sense. Yeah.
You know,
So I guess what's the time at night? Like, are we talking midnight, like the old midnight snack? Are we talking 9 o'clock? Are we talking 3 a.m.? What are we talking here?
as
Like
soon as it
before,
hits
Just
10:01, it's too
as
late. No
no,
more.
I
as
mean,
soon as soon as the sun goes down, we just stop eating. That's what we're saying. We just can't eat anything. We can't even look at a ho ho or a ding dong on the table. We
An
can't even eat
Oreo.
it. An
well,
Oreo.
like I said, it kind of just depends on your life, your schedule, but I feel like
What about honey buns? Do those count?
I feel like you're kind of exposing yourself here, Wyatt.
I
You,
know.
you know
I
what I
know.
used to do? I don't do it anymore, but what I used to do every night, my bedtime snack was Oreos and milk, and I'm not gonna lie, there'd be some nights where I'd finished off a whole row before I went to bed. So, you saying that's not a good idea, or
I mean, maybe have like a couple. You could have a couple,
couple?
but you gotta have some self.
I got to ask this question just because we're on this topic. So, as far as because you mentioned the digestion, right? So if I have, let's just say hypothetically, I have some Reese's peanut butter cups in the freezer, right? So I like to freeze my Reese's peanut butter cups. So because it's frozen when I eat it, as far as my digestion goes, that might be better for me than just eating them right out of 102 degrees outside and it's dripping down my fingers, right or wrong? Oh,
Well, like our body temperature, it's gonna get warm when it goes inside us anyway, right? So it doesn't
There.
have an effect on, like the temperature of things. But basically, what I'm trying to say is, um, it just makes more sense to eat earlier in the day because when we're going throughout the day, we need energy to do things, right? And you get energy from food, so you're also able to do those things that you need to get done, but then you're also kind of burning those calories throughout the day. But if you're eating them late at night, how are you going to burn those calories at night? Like your body's getting ready to sleep. So don't give it energy when it's trying to sleep. But when you're up in the morning, give your body that energy so that you can get through the day. It just makes more sense.
Gotcha.
But
Gotcha. So,
Goes into the next question.
the biggest meal should be breakfast. True or myth?
You're gonna be so mad at me, but I'm gonna say it depends. It's just
Okay, here we go. Next
he
question.
has
It
different
depends.
circumstances, but there is no like strict rule stating that breakfast must be like the largest or biggest meal of the day, right? But having breakfast can provide you with that energy, like I was talking about, so you can get through the day. Um, and our bodies are better equipped to metabolize food um, during the day, and just gives you more of an opportunity to burn those calories throughout the day. And if you're starting with a balanced meal, that can help reduce the likelihood of overeating later in the day. Because if you skip meals, then you're going to kind of make up for it later in the day, right? Like if you skip breakfast, say you did that, and then dinner rolls around, you're going to eat way more. Or you're going to eat like your dinner, but then later on you're going to go snack because you kind of skip meals throughout the day. So it just makes you kind of overeat.
So just to clarify on this, so what you're saying in more of a medical terminology, scientifically, you're saying that breakfast should consist of about 1,500 to 5,000 calories. Is that correct?
1,500 to 5,000 calories? No, that's a lot. That's like,
Well,
I feel like, I can't say, everybody has their own, calorie needs, but usually it's not. I feel like 1,500 would be like half of what you would need in a day, if you get what I'm saying. Like, I would say, like, somebody like me, I need around like 2,000 calories a day to maintain my weight. But, so if I ate like half of that in the morning, I'd end up overeating, right? Like, I don't know if that makes sense. That's just a
Yeah.
large amount of calories that doesn't need to be that big at breakfast.
You kind of calculated it for me.
Fair
You
enough.
said based on my height and my weight, I would need approximately 2,300 to 2,700 calories per day. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe not 5,000 for breakfast, Wyatt. Maybe 4,000, probably okay. But
yeah.
5,000 might be pushing it a little bit.
Yeah,
Got to save some room for lunch and dinner and dessert. So
yeah, right,
yeah.
correct, and lots of dessert.
I don't think like it should be focused on like calories. It shouldn't be like I need this many calories at breakfast. It's more like let's have a protein source, let's have a carb, let's have some vegetables or fruit. Like making sure you have food groups rather than focusing on the calories.
Yeah, and
Okay.
would you say like um, obviously it's not good to skip meals. You'd say everybody should make sure they get all three meals, or what do you think like the prototypical, like the best way to go about eating food throughout the day?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's best to not skip meals and to maybe feed ourselves every 3 to 4 hours. It just depends on people's schedule. Sometimes we're not able to eat breakfast in the morning or eat lunch, but it is like the ideal way to go about things. You want to feed yourself multiple times throughout the day and have those 3 meals if able. But nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect. I don't always eat at 3 meals a day. So just depends.
Yeah. It depends. Moral of
Yeah.
the podcast, it depends. All right. Let's see, which one do I want to go with next? This one you made fun of me for, but I promise I've heard it somewhere. So the next one, truth or myth, it is bad to eat, for a specific example, apples or anything acidic on an empty stomach. Is that true? I don't know who told me this.
Yeah, but so basically, like whenever we eat, it stimulates the production of hydrochloric acid, which is acidic, right? So that's what breaks down our food in our stomach is this acid. Um, so I feel like the only people it might not be good for are people like if they actually experience, some discomfort when they do actually have acidic foods on an empty stomach. Like if you notice that, maybe try to avoid that, or else like pair it with like another food to kind of help avoid that. But there are some people who may need to avoid eating acidic foods on an empty stomach, like people with GERD, which is gastroesophageal reflux disease, basically like reflux and heartburn. So those type of people need to actually limit the amount of acidic foods that they consume, because it can increase the risk of those symptoms.
Gotcha.
But
so
really,
the only thing,
sorry.
the only thing that we shouldn't be doing on an empty stomach is drinking alcohol.
Yeah, I would say. But like also like coffee is acidic. I mean, a lot of people drink that on an empty stomach.
I know.
So
Don't ask me where I've heard this. It's just I heard it. So I needed the professional to tell me if it was true or not.
there you go.
All right. So I got two more. First one. This one has made me pretty angry over the last year or so. It feels like there's been an attack. There's been an attack on milk and dairy specifically. So, true or myth, milk/dairy is bad for you.
Dairy are not bad for you unless you have an intolerance or you experience some other sort of like symptom or discomfort from consuming it. A lot of people demonize dairy for many reasons, but no, it's not bad for you. And it has a lot of health benefits, such as it being a good source of protein, calcium, helps improve bone health, can provide probiotics for gut health. And some research has shown that it has like anti-inflammatory effects. But if you don't tolerate it, definitely would avoid it. And there's other options out there. But if you digest it just fine, then there's no need to cut it out. Maybe choosing some dairy products that are better for us rather than just choosing, cheese, butter, and ice cream, stuff like that. You can have those things, but like I said, in moderation.
Gotcha. I feel like I get judged for drinking milk, but that's just what we did. Growing up, every dinner we'd have a glass of milk with it, and it was just kind of normal. And then as I've moved around throughout college and then after college, now living in Florida, people judge me for drinking milk. If they see I have a glass of milk, they're like, "Ew, what are you doing? This is so weird." So, yeah, I don't know. I've always wanted to know.
It's just so common in the Midwest, though.
Yeah.
It's what we do here. There's lots of cows around us.
Yeah. Do you drink milk, Wyatt, or no?
I gotta be honest with you guys. I absolutely hated drinking milk at dinner growing up. I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I love chocolate milk. Not necessarily a fan. I just wanted water. I just wanted water with dinner. That's it. But we always had to have milk. I don't get it. I didn't want the soda. I just wanted water. Okay?
Yeah, to each their own. There's a lot of people like you. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So I feel a little better. I felt like I was I don't know, I felt like I was a animal in a zoo when I'd take out a glass of milk. Everybody'd be like, what is that dude doing? Oh my God. But, all right. Last one I have for you. This is another thing that's been pretty popular over the last few years. True or myth, fasting is good for you?
That's true and false, It's
Oh, great. Another it depends.
Nothing is just set in stone, clear. It's all, it depends, basically.
Ridiculous.
But imagine studying it.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, it's gained popularity for the health benefits that come from it. So, like, people use it for weight management or improve metabolic health, but it's not something that us dietitians recommend for weight loss, um, just because there's insufficient scientific evidence and there's like potential risks that can come from it too, like nutrient deficiencies. So I wouldn't personally recommend it for people with who are wanting to use it for weight loss because it leads to restrictive eating patterns and it's just not sustainable long term. So I just think it's most important to listen to your body and its hunger cues. So if you're feeling hungry, eat. Don't limit yourself or like fast for hours. If you're feeling hungry, you should just eat. But it's kind of like the yo-yo diets where like you know we're restricting ourselves for a long time, we end up binging later, and then we regain all that weight back that we lost from that diet that didn't work. So the best thing to do is just to eat what you want, making some smarter choices, things in moderation, but just well balanced meals and just honoring your body when it tells you that it's hungry. You should just and not restrict yourself.
Okay.
Have you guys seen the is it Limitless with Chris Hemsworth? You guys seen that on like Disney Plus or whatnot?
Mm-mm.
One of the that got me thinking about that because one of the episodes is of him like fasting for like he doesn't. The only thing is he's drinking water for I want to say it was 3 days or something, and they talked about in the episode like it's supposed to be some sort of natural detox for you to do for your body or whatnot. It had me thinking about it, so I'm glad to get some more knowledge and wisdom from Carly about it, but I wanted to share that.
I mean, just kind of need to see like all the research that comes out about it. We don't know like the potential long-term effects of what this does, so it's still
Yeah.
like new, still kind of figuring stuff out. So
And you were telling me like, because I used to not really eat breakfast. I still kind of skip breakfast a lot of the time. But when I brought up skipping breakfast and like fasting, you kind of mentioned that one thing it definitely does do is slow down your metabolism. Is that right?
yeah, body kind of adapts. Like if you're starving yourself, it adapts to that. So it's not going to be burning as many calories because you're not getting in as many calories anymore. So when you kind of restrict yourself like that, it's kind of harder to lose weight too because your metabolism just slows down because it's adjusted to that. But if you start eating more again, after a while, your metabolism will adapt to that as well. And then it's weird, but if it's kind of called reverse dieting, where if you eat more, your body starts to burn more.
Hmm. Interesting. Yeah, it's like a lot of the things that I've heard or just thought were true are kind of like the opposite. After talking to you, like a lot of the things that people think, it's actually the opposite. So that's always interesting.
Yeah, I feel like that's my job is to kind of debunk all this stuff all the time to
Yeah.
people. A lot of people, they're very skeptical of me sometimes, and I'm a little offended because it's not like I just did all this, you know, schooling and internship and read all these research studies. But yeah, people are a little skeptical still, but at least I put it out there, and tell them like this is actually what happens. But do what I can.
Yeah. So, have you had a bunch of patients or people from Wisconsin who drink a lot of beer and you've had to try and get them to stop?
Oh yeah, but
I bet
I
that's a lot of fun.
I reassure them that I'm from Wisconsin too, so I get it. But yeah, a little tough. I had somebody where I think he was newly diagnosed type 2 diabetes, and beer is a big no-no. We want to try to limit that, and he was drinking like a case a day, and so I was trying to work with him, compromise here, like, okay, how about we limit it to like maybe 2 a day. And he just like was not for it. He's like, there's no way I can do that. I'm like, trust me, I understand. But your body, your health will thank you. So yeah, kind of
Yeah.
helps being from Wisconsin because you get it. But
Yeah. Yeah, like that top 10 list that they always come out with, the drunkest cities in America, 7 of them are like from Wisconsin, and then one of them is actually Mankato, Minnesota, where you went to college. So it's like even when you did leave, you didn't really escape it. Yeah.
you know, there's nothing to do there, so everybody just drinks.
Yeah. Eh, just like the rest of the Midwest, not a lot to do, especially in the winter, so everybody just drinks, I guess. Yeah. Let's see. Do you have any more questions, Wyatt, or myths that you can think of for Carly?
No, I guess the last question I had for myself, that's uh so have you heard of Thor Bjornsson?
Is that the guy you bought the workout plan from?
No.
Nope, nope,
No.
that's the V Shred guy. No. This guy's like he's a professional bodybuilder. Dude is huge. He's from Iceland.
Okay.
Uh let me get a photo first. And then and
This
then we'll
isn't this isn't the same dude that played like the Mountain in Game of Thrones, right? Or is it?
yeah, yeah,
It is,
yeah,
right? Okay.
yeah,
That's what I thought.
yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yep. Let me get
Did you watch Game of
let's
Thrones,
see.
Carly?
I didn't.
Oh, well.
So I'm trying to get like that. How do I do that?
How do I? I feel like is he
How do I
cheating?
get there? Is he cheating? Nah, he doesn't cheat.
Some no,
Nah, because they have their set stuff with bodybuilding
yeah.
profession. So yeah.
That's cool. Well, exercise. Always protein and consistency. I don't know anything
Okay.
about bodybuilding, but definitely need to
As
really.
far as from a dietary, what do I just need to eat more chicken, or what do I gotta do here? What do I gotta eat to get like
Definitely
that?
protein's important because that's what helps like uh, grow, repair your muscles. So protein, yeah. So chicken would be a good one. Um,
Okay.
and just enough calories, I think, and hydration. Yeah. So I don't know where you want me to go with. I don't know how he did or how
I
he
know.
did what he did, but I know you just gotta
I
Basically,
guess it was.
you just gotta
basically,
increase your.
best of luck, Wyatt.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I hope
Yeah, I
you.
guess it was a vague question. I guess it was vague.
I
You
hope
could
you.
be like the Liver King dude and just eat everything
Yes.
raw. Just take the chicken,
I
just eat
wouldn't.
it.
Yes.
Do
I
that
wouldn't do that.
like constantly, and then work out. Every time you're not eating raw chicken, work out, lift weights
Yeah. Yeah. Is raw bull testicle, is that good? Is that good to eat?
with a
You
bunch of
willing?
milk.
Oh,
Yeah.
guys.
No, that's seriously what this dude did.
I know.
Yes. That he still does. Still does.
I'm a
Yeah.
little concerned about the food safety aspect.
Fair. That's
Really.
respectable. So I
Well,
guess
he
raw liver is out of there too then, huh?
Some people do that, and I don't get
yeah,
it. I don't get it.
Yeah, that's why
guy.
they call him the Liver King.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean he
There's
is
no need.
shredded.
He's thick. Also, he does it the illegal way too. So that was confirmed a while back.
Gotcha. Of course.
But yes, also very thick.
All right. So my very last question, I wanted to save it for the end. Um, you don't have to give like a top 5, but basically, what are your top health/diet tips? top things you would say to just an average person looking to either lose weight or just be healthy and work out, gain muscle?
Would definitely go with probably just like looking at your plate and kind of asking yourself, what can I add to this to make it more balanced? So I think what I told you, Brennan, is like following the plate method, which is where a quarter of your plate should be protein, quarter of it should be your grain, starch, and then half of the rest of the plate, so half of it should be your fruits and vegetables. Um, I think also, I remember I told you too that I think it takes about like 60 cups of vegetables to actually gain a pound, but don't quote me, I don't know if that's 100% true. But vegetables are very high in nutrients that we need, but very low in calorie. So choosing more nutrient dense foods rather than calorie dense. And then I would also say limiting sugar sweetened beverages. So
Damn
don't
it.
drink your calories. Yeah, don't drink your calories. Like soda, it doesn't really give you any nutrients, any vitamins, or anything like that that your body needs. You're basically just giving yourself calories and sugar, and that leads to weight gain. And then I would also say getting a good amount of protein in, protein along with fiber. Those are some good things to do together. They take longer to digest in your body, so it kind of helps you feel full for longer. When you're actually eating like refined carbohydrates, that's digested in your body a lot quicker, so then you get hungry quicker. So try to do more complex carbohydrates like fiber and protein.
Fiber, that's what makes your poop firm, right?
Helps with your bowel movements. Yes,
Yes.
yes. Trying to think what else. I would just try not to restrict yourself. You know, if you feel like you want to have something, have it. Like, what's the point of life if you can't have those things that you enjoy? But, you know, just watching portion sizes and doing things in moderation and making sure you're getting a variety of foods. You know, I think that's most important.
Oh yeah, what you told me, the 80% of the time do the right thing and eat healthy, and then the other 20% live a little and enjoy it, but don't go overboard.
Yeah, I think there's some dietitians who say that, some don't, but I think, you know, if you want it to be sustainable, you have to allow yourself to have those things that you enjoy too. You can't restrict yourself because then you're gonna binge, you're gonna go overboard. So I think allowing yourself to have those things, but just watching how much of that you're having at one time is the best way to go about it.
Gotcha. Okay. I like all of your advice, but I can't say I'm going to listen to you.
That's okay.
I feel like that's probably what most of your patients say too.
Yep. Or else they just, you know, act like they're like, oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna do this, and then they go home and probably don't do it. But you know,
Yeah.
you tried. Yeah, it's all
Yeah.
that matters.
It's all that matters. All right.
All right. So last question for me though.
Okay.
Last question. Not related to all of the stuff that we talked about, but I need to bring it up because we have Carly on now. But this is a very very important matter that we've got to discuss, especially for everyone that doesn't know about it. To give some detail on this story before asking the necessary questions of the matter. So back in the day, we had a video of a huge scene that we did from Hot Rod, which is the Two of Hearts scene with them dancing in the was it the convenience store parking lot, and we had this huge setup in huge setup in the road at night we had like all of the cars from the neighborhood like had their cars come out to get the lights on to shoot this scene, and we shot it off of Carly's phone, and it was the best thing since sliced bread. We would have been famous if we would have been able to put that out there. Like it was the vine of all vines. It was the TikTok before TikTok was even a thing. We would have been through the roof, millions of followers by now, probably even hundreds of millions of followers by now.
I'd
But
care to say billions.
I'm down to say billions. But this video has been missing for however long that when do you think we filmed that? Was it like maybe 10 years ago? 2013? 2012?
I'd say probably even longer. I don't know. No idea. Maybe.
10 or 12 years. We're going to say 10 or 12 years. So, Carly, what happened to the video, and are we going to see it again?
And why did you ruin our lives by losing it?
Exactly. Also, where is our royalties for all of the fame and glitz and glamour that we could have had?
Yeah, I just want to take this moment to apologize. You know, I'm a human and I make mistakes. I don't know where it went. But you know, forgiveness is key, right?
No, absolutely not.
You don't even know if you really would have been famous from it. Like, what if
Oh, we 100% knew.
Are you
we
kidding
find
me?
it funny? Others find it funny? Think about that. Digest that. Huh, let's get it.
Ha.
Right, tough crowd. But no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It must have been on my iPod or something, and I don't
Oh,
even.
no, it was on the phone. It was on the phone.
Was it
But
like
the
a
phone got like hammered, or you beat it to death with something. I don't know. Threw it out the car. I don't know. But
Yeah.
it's gone now, is what you're saying. It wasn't up in the cloud. It's not up in the cloud.
No. Was the cloud even
Wow.
a thing then? I don't even know.
Yeah, there were clouds up there. God.
Lots of them.
I'm sorry. Like,
I need a
whole
I
life-
need a moment to myself that this has been confirmed.
If we ever find that
guess.
video one day, even if we're on our deathbed, we're gonna make it.
Everyone, for those that are listening, please watch that scene in Hot Rod. It's probably about an hour and 15 minutes into the movie. Maybe a little less than that. Maybe about 40 minutes into the movie. I can't remember how long it is, but fantastic scene. We did it to perfection, to a T. And Gus was the one that we kept throwing into the van, the side of the van.
Yep.
Is that right? I think so.
I think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. It was perfect. And it is gone.
Gone forever.
It's gone. Thanks a lot, Carly. Appreciate it.
Can you tell me why again we had her on the podcast first for our first interview?
The official interviewee.
Am I?
I don't
Two
know.
bros in a pod. So at what point of this podcast did you feel like you made a mistake by coming on? Immediately.
like- Maybe.
You're gonna say it depends, right?
I should. That's what I've been doing. But no, I probably when Wyatt just asked me to get a 6-pack.
Oh, okay. Way to go, Wyatt. God.
Just
You
kidding.
and your stupid 6-pack. No.
I know. I'm trying to get big. I'm trying to get big, thick, and lean. How does that happen? How do those three words
Big.
mesh?
No,
Gotta eat bull
thanks for having
testicles. She's like, get me out of here. Let me go.
me. I'm trying to thank you. for having me on here. And then you guys bring up bull testicle skin, so.
Yeah. That's two bros in a pod for you. You're welcome. No,
I hope
thank you
you two
very
drop-
much. What'd you
Yeah.
say?
Thank you, Carly.
Thanks for having me, guys.
We are
Yeah.
so proud of you and your words and wisdom and all of the hard hits of it depends and all of the things that also depend on whatever it's being depended on. It was fantastic. So thank you very much, Carly. We are so proud of you.
Thank you.
Yeah. What he said. No. Yeah, we seriously though, thank you very much for coming on. We are very proud of you. I know I could have never done what you did at Mayo Clinic. It's crazy. So, very proud of you. You're awesome. All right, let's say bye quick. All right. Thanks again, Carly, for coming on. We'll talk to you later.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right,
Toodles.
bye.
Bye.
Take it easy, Mountain Faith.